Love your haters. In this episode, we are going to talk about why haters are a good thing, what happens when they show up, and how it actually really helps your content. Hey, I'm Donnie Bovian, CEO and founder of Success Champions Networking and author of Endless Streamer Referrals. This is Growth Mode, a business development podcast where we talk about business, sales, growing your company, and just going bigger. Hanging out with me, as always, my buddy Kevin Snow, the sales and automation tactician and genius. And in this episode, we're going to talk about why you should hope haters show up on your content. All right, so this is going to be a fun episode for me, Kevin. I have recently completely proved my idea and thought process on haters, and I'm just fucking enjoying it. So, quick story. TikTok is by far the biggest place I get haters to show up in my content. It's happened a couple times, and I love it. But the last post that's blowing up right now, over 115,000 views, which is monster for me. Which usually says most of my TikToks get between 200 and 300 views as their standard. But I put out one piece of content that talked about if somebody is selling you, they need to turn on their Zoom camera, especially if the prospect requests that you turn on your camera. And this guy tried to tell me and Kevin that he wasn't going to turn on his camera because of facial recognition software. And that's why he wouldn't turn on his camera. And I'm like, dude, if you've walked into a Walmart, you've been to any gas station in the world, you've been anywhere, your face is captured and you have been identified by somebody. You're not avoiding it unless you live out in the fucking sticks away from everybody. And even then, some satellite dish has probably got your ass anyways. So, but I put this post out there, and truthfully, a lot of people interpreted what I said different than what I was saying. They thought that I was telling prospects to turn on their cameras, when in truth, they didn't understand this guy was selling me. And so this post has got 115,000 views on TikTok. Most of the views have come from people either calling me boomer, old dude, a guy who's ruining the sales industry, and a whole bunch of other stupid shit that I think is funny and hilarious. But for every hater comment, so I bet you there's probably 50 different people that call me boomer. I'm 44 years old. I got 20 some odd years before I get to boomer status, right? But, I get it. Little gray in the beard, freaking, crow's feet from years of hard living. But, it's still funny to me that people take a moment out of their day to come and hate on something because they go after it, make it a personal attack versus, this is my thoughts and opinion on this. But for every time somebody did that, I would get 50 to 150, 200 more views on some of these comments because the algorithm really thinks that when people are commenting, it doesn't really care what they say, but when people are commenting, it's engagement. So most of those boomer comments, I went in and said, dude, thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. Thanks for helping me reach more people. And which really agitated a couple of them because you could tell they were just there trolling, trying to pick a fight. But dude, I am telling you, haters are a damn good thing. And we're going to talk specifically in here why you need to and how to get more of them to show up in your world. But man, they're healthy. But you better have some thick skin because they are fucking ruthless. What are your thoughts, Kevin?
So it's the 21st century, and the internet is full of trolls and people that are just out there to pick a fight and not actually trying to have any sort of meaningful engagement or convince anyone to think differently. So I think you're right. You really have to have thick skin. And if you're going to be a personality and actually put out content, whether it is blog videos, going live on Facebook, TikTok, whatever type of content you put out there, eventually you're going to hit that point where people are seeing your stuff and people are going to post mean comments, and it's going to happen. And we've always told people, and I'm a staunch believer in this, is that once you start getting people that are disagreeing and having that type of reaction to you, you're saying the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I got to admit, when I first started putting out content, I wasn't prepared for the disgusting side of humanity showing up. And I don't know. I just launched the company. I don't even remember what the post was, but I put out a post and, instantly had people coming at me saying different things. And I wish I could remember the context of the post, but and I remember having to literally turn off my phone and go take a walk for the farm because I thought, holy shit, I can't believe people would be this nasty on a comment. And once again, it was more of a personal attack than anything else. But the interesting thing is I probably came in 10, 20 minutes later, turned on my phone, and that post had taken off. For me back then, especially, nobody was seeing my content. So the fact that there was views and things, and I went, holy shit. I wonder if there's something to this. And I've just constantly learned that, and it's my true belief, that most people are fucking miserable. They hate their life. They hate what they're doing because they're not chasing their dreams. They're not doing the shit that they should be doing to truly get after it. So they're living a mundane fucking life. So for them to come in and troll and bash and fucking get pissed at somebody makes them feel good, right? Because they're trying to make somebody as fucking miserable as him, so as themselves, so they can enjoy fucking life. So if I can make some douchebag fucking feel better about themselves because they took 2 seconds out of their fucking day to write a hater comment, I fucking love that kind of thing. Like if you get off by just being an asshat in fucking social media land, protected behind a fucking, screen, good on you, buddy. I'm glad your lot in life has gotten you that far, and it's funny to me that people take what somebody says online as like a personal assault on their humanity and take it so personal. But you should know by now, guys, if you pick a fight with a hater, with a troll, you're going to lose. And the reason you're going to lose is because at some point you're going to say something fucking stupid and somebody's going to screen capture that shit and that stuff's going to come back and haunt your ass. So enjoy it and pick the damn fight.
Well, and really, it's on the internet, on little snippet tweets or Facebook posts or any type of online engagement, you're never going to change anyone's mind.
No, God, no.
It's not even worth trying anymore because the people that are posting are going to be in one of two camps. They're either going to completely agree with you, or they're going to completely, have the opposite viewpoint of you. And then they're the ones that are going to get all offended. And I think that's part of the issue is that people think everything that's on the internet is geared to them. They feel like people are literally talking to them and that it's a conversation, but it's not. People are just putting out random thoughts for whoever to see. It's not geared to any single individual or single group 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and text is non-emotional, right? You cannot interpret emotions via words, text, those type of things. So, once upon a time I worked for this guy, and every time my phone went off, I went, fuck, I hope it's not him, right? And because the dude just grated on every ounce of my fucking soul. That dude could say, hey, Donnie, how are things? And in my head, I would hear, Donnie, you're a fucking idiot, right? And I'd be like, here we go again, this motherfucker. And all he would say is like, how are you doing, right? Just checking in on things. And because I had no respect for him, I thought everything that he said was like a personal attack on my ability to show up in life. And there was several times I found myself sitting in his fucking office going, dude, why the fuck are you being such a dick? And he'd turn and look at me like a deer in the headlight looks, like, what the fuck am I talking about? And he'd go, what? And he would say that exactly. What are you talking about? And I said, dude, look what you wrote. And then he would read it out loud like he wrote it. And I'd be like, oh, shit, you weren't an ass at all. So oftentimes what we're doing is projecting our own internal monologue into somebody else's words when we see them on the fucking screen. Right? It is our thoughts, and we're nervous sometimes about putting out content where we're nervous about the words we say. And so when somebody does say something, we're over analyzing it, over internalizing it, and are throwing it out there. But you got to remember, text has no emotion. So when people say things, you have no idea what the context is coming from, what the tonality is, what their bone language, body language is. I don't know what bone language is, but that's a whole different magical art of some sort. But, so you can't read that. And that's why you can't pick the fight back, because logic goes out the window when you can't. I mean, because most of the time when you see shit blow up online, it's because people are protected by a screen, right? If they were sitting across from each other having a conversation, 99% of the time it'd be fucking civil. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, you don't walk around anywhere and just see random motherfuckers beating the shit out of each other and fist fighting. Everybody is cordial to everybody. And it just doesn't have that same, effect when you're online. And no matter what you say, somebody's going to take it out of fucking context. And that's okay. It's actually a really good thing.
Well, and the thing that happens, you can reply back with a well thought out argument, completely logical, and not be heated when you're typing it. But the other person, because you're replying to their thought, is going to get defensive.
Yeah.
And they're going to explode back, and they're going to try and escalate the interaction. And so that's why it's not worth it even making a reply anymore. Donnie doesn't let me reply on his posts when he has haters.
Yep.
He's told me to stop. He's like, you don't need to defend me. I'm good.
Yeah. Kevin likes to turn into my big brother and go at these people when they're coming at me. I'm like, dude, I got this, right? But I mean, wish I remember who taught me, but early in my career, somebody told me that once somebody gets emotional, there's no logical conversation left. Or if somebody gets offended, there's no logical conversation left. And unfortunately online, because you can't understand and read emotions, right? People instantly take it in a negative nature, and you look at all the shit that's horrible topics that are going on when the people are blaming Facebook and everything else for the divide in all the countries and all the different thought processes and stuff. And all it is emotions running rampant over something that can't be controlled, meaning the comments and the arguments and discussions online. So it comes down to you've got to understand that, as Kevin said, you're never going to change somebody's mind via text online. So you can't pick that fight. Now, there's a couple rules I follow. One, I had to fucking teach Kevin early on when it comes to social content. And these are just a couple rules that have kept me out of a lot of fucking trouble. And at the end of the day, for me, man, I'm all about running a fucking business. And to run a business means I'm going to do a business with a lot of varieties of fucking people, and a lot of people that are going to have different philosophies and thought processes than I am. So here's the thing that I know without a shadow of a doubt. If you're not pissing somebody off with your content, if somebody's not getting mad about what you say, you're not putting out enough content. And you're not picking a stance and you're trying to please everybody. I think it was Andy Frisella that said that the first time, and I thought, shit, that's a great thought process. But I want you to, proactively pick a fight out there with people and put out content that's going to be controversial. But there's two rules that I live by. Kevin, what are the rules?
No politics,
Yep.
no religion.
Second one. That's it. That's it. Those are two things that I don't talk about. No politics and no religion. And here's why. They're too emotionally charged. People are too emotionally attached to their beliefs to have a logical conversation. So I just avoid them. Now, for me, I will pick a fight all day long about how you should be selling and not be a fucking greaseball. I will pick a fight all day long about how you should put out your content. I'll pick a fight about how you should run your fucking business, right? I will dance those dances till I'm blue in the fucking face, right? And have a good time with it. But I'm not going to talk about politics and religion. And it's mainly because people can't freaking have an adult logical conversation. There's a third one, which is world news, anything that's happening big time in the news. I'm out. I'm just not going to plant that. It's not the hill I'm going to die on, and I would rather lift people up, build people up, and have adult conversations. And those three topics, man, you just can't have adult conversations anymore. People are just too emotionally attached to them. So, and it's just safe to run and have your business. Now, when Kevin and I first started working together, this motherfucker, he thought every political stance in the world was his to personally fucking solve. And this dude would fucking pounce on people until I finally got him to understand that it's affecting how he's showing up in the business world. But he's come around. You haven't slipped up in like months, dude.
I've been really good.
But and truthfully, Kevin doesn't see a whole lot of hate on his stuff because as now I'm just going to bust his chops. He's getting better. He just doesn't put out a whole lot of content, but the idea behind haters, guys, is like the first time I got a 1-star review on the book Endless Stream Referrals, I fucking loved it. And I went immediately to the Facebook group, the Success Champions Facebook group, and told everybody I got a 1-star review. And the reason? Somebody besides my fucking mom read the damn book, right? And they didn't like it. Cool. I wish they would have told me what they didn't like so I could really laugh. But I don't know how you can get pissed off over a 32-page book that does nothing but provide value. Other than I started off that, hey, I cuss, so let's get this bullshit out of the way. I don't know if they made it past that first paragraph. But, you've got to be putting out content that plants a flag, takes a stance on something that will help and grow your business. Like, I'll plant a flag that Harry Potter is the greatest series ever written out there, just hoping some idiot will go, no, it's Star Wars. Right now, I can pick a fun fight and tell them why it's not Star Wars. And Kevin would usually say, "Well, Harry Potter is just Star Wars rewritten."
Yeah, it's Star Wars with wands.
Every story is the same damn story, just different characters play it. Just go read the hero's journey. But the stronger you can pick a professional fight, a fight that has so if you have a certain way of learning something, you have a certain way of explaining something, you have a certain style, if you tried to talk email marketing with Kevin, you're gonna pick a fight because he's got some strong beliefs and stance on how and what you should be putting out there, how to put the content out there. And it's funny to watch anybody try and sell us technology because they're like, oh, you should use this. And Kevin's like, yeah, no, we've tried to get, and he'll go straight at him, because he's dealt with enough of this technology to pick those kind of fights. But so many people play it safe with their content that they are trying to reach everybody. It's like the day I learned that I should be cussing more in my content because it brings my people to the table. I mean, I was given a keynote down in Florida, and the guy before I went on stage looked at me and said, Donnie, don't go full Donnie on this stage. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he said, don't upstage me. I'm like, well, that was the dumbest fucking thing to say to me before I go on stage. So I went out on stage and I said, where the fuck are all my badasses at? Half the room goes fucking bananas. And I went, cool, there's my people. And the other half of the room was like, oh my God, Donnie said fucking badass on stage. And, it was even when I first launched the company and I started saying badass and I started cussing in content, I had so many people coming at me saying, hey, you can't build a business this way, and you can't do this. And then I had the other people going, finally, somebody is talking my language. And I went, fuck, I've got to keep down this path and let the world meet Donnie, because the more you show up as you, you become you. Oh, good.
So every week, we are taking questions from our Success Champions Networking members. And this week, we have one from Jessica Gruber. She is the owner of Buzzworks, and she's a member of the Fort Worth Warriors. Her question is a two-part question.
Okay.
So part one, how do you recognize the difference between a troll and a hater?
I don't think there's a hard, fast, black and white ruling on this, but I have noticed that your trolls are the ones that are do a drive-by content to just start a fight. It could be something like, you put out a post that pecan pies are the best pies on the face of the earth, even though I love pumpkin pie. That's a great example. If Kevin puts out a post that says, I love pumpkin pie, if I go by and just say, you're an idiot, pumpkin pie is the best pie on the face of the fucking earth, and then I never come back, that was a troll. Right? I'm literally just like lobbing a grenade over the wall and running like hell. Okay? The haters are the ones that are more trying to take a stance. And their content, I have found up to this point, seems to be a little bit longer in what they're saying because they're trying to explain why they're right. So, if you go back to that big post that's blowing up for me on TikTok, the haters are the ones that start off and they're like, well, this fucking boomer who's given the sales world a bad name and teaching bad practices. Anybody who's trying to sell me and telling me to turn on their camera, I'm never going to do business with. They didn't understand the context of the video. That's straight up hate. They start off with a derogatory comment coming straight at you, right? But I prefer the haters over the trolls because the trolls just want to stir shit up. The haters are coming specifically at you. Maybe that's the distinguishing thing is the haters are coming straight at you. What are your thoughts, Kevin?
I don't have a ton of experience with it other than sometimes playing the role of troll because it is kind of fun at times to just lob the grenade and then watch what happens in the content.
How do you play a troll? Is that a good definition?
Yeah, I usually will. If I'm going to play the troll, especially I usually do it in like a two-way Second Amendment post or something like that. I'll usually just make one comment about how the person is dumb and doesn't know what they're talking about, and I'll usually, because of my personality, I'll drop some fact that shows my point, and then I'll just sit back and watch, and I'll watch everyone else come to the forefront. I have a couple friends who are both full bird colonels that when I post on those types of things, I'm pretty sure they're normally going to jump in and start lobbing grenades at the poor person as well. And that's also fun for me to watch. But yeah, when I play the troll, it's usually just, I want to get some sort of reaction. I want to stir the pot and see what kind of chaos I can cause on that thread, just because I want to be entertained. When I'm actually annoyed by a post and wanting to actually engage and have some sort of conversation, then it's usually more in depth, and it'll be a longer retort, and I'll actually think out what I'm going to say so that it sounds like a coherent, thoughtful argument, as opposed to just, you're dumb, you don't know what you're talking about style post.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's just a great way to do it. The troll is doing a quick, you're dumb, quick pop and run. The haters coming and doing a personal attack on you.
If
So
you're a Mrs. Doubtfire fan, it was a drive-by fruiting.
drive by fruit.
I watched that this
Wow.
weekend and I laughed and I was like, oh God, I love Mrs. Doubtfire. So
Nice.
part two of the question, sorry, squirrel. Part two of the question was, what are your top 3 one-liners to diffuse a hater into a calm conversation? And my first question about that is, can you even diffuse a hater
No.
into a calm conversation?
No. Oh, well, I mean, you can diffuse them. To the calm conversation is the part that I'm saying you can't do. They're easily to diffuse. You have found over the years, and there was a bully video that somebody sent me, and there's a guy who's in a school teaching his kids bullying, and he's got this little girl up on stage, and he tells her, like, be the biggest bully, be nasty to me. And she is. I mean, this girl just thrashes the fuck out of the speaker. You're an idiot. You're dumb. You're never going to amount to anything. Your shoes are ugly. And this little girl just going straight at him. It's awesome. He goes, okay, I want you to do it again. But when you do this, I want you to be even nastier. And the girl goes, you're dumb. And the guy goes, thanks. I've been working on it. And then the girl goes, your shoes are ugly. He goes, I know. I'm fixing to get a new pair. And every time she came at him, he thanked her for the comment and explained that he was doing something more. And it's basically the idea of being a bigger person. So what I've found for me, my number one comment to diffuse people is I just thank them for the comment. I'm like, dude, thanks for this comment. I really appreciate it. Hey, I really thank you for your thoughts and insights. And when you come in and you don't take the bait, they'll come back. Or another way to do it is explain, like the post that got all the boomer comments and everything else on there. Most times they didn't understand the context of what I was coming. So if they came down and said I was an idiot for telling people to turn on the cameras, all I would say is the person was selling me. They would then flip their tone and they're like, yeah, if somebody's selling me and they won't turn on their camera, I'm not doing business with anybody I can't look in the eye, which is the whole point of what I was trying to say in that Zoom. And so I think if you can put it into the context of where it came from without putting any emotion behind it. But the best way to diffuse anybody is to thank them. It's like if you're doing customer service and somebody calls in and is pissed off and so mad, instantly fall on the sword. And you're like, dude, I'm so sorry. If I were in your shoes, I'd be just as freaking mad. How do I make this right? And you put it back on them. And that diffuses a lot of people in customer service. It's the same thing online. I'm not so worried about it making it right. So I don't usually do the second path, but I'm always like, dude, thanks for the comment. I freaking appreciate it. There's a couple people, if they've gotten really nasty, I'm like, dude, thank you for helping me spread my message because your comment just got me 50 more views and 10 more subscribers. So keep that shit up.
Do you have,
and I've invited, go ahead.
Do you have a line where you will block someone?
If they come at more of a personal attack. So if they're coming at me, fuck it all day long, right? If they include my family, they try and take something like political, religious, something, whatever. I will get out and remove them from following me. And I've only done that less than 10 times I've ever removed somebody. One was getting really, really political on a post, but it was one of my entrepreneur posts, and he started making it his platform to promote his style of thing. I finally just deleted his comment thread because he had his own agenda, and I went and looked at some of his other content just to see what he was doing. And he was doing this to a lot of people. He was using other people's content for his stage. So that guy got deleted. But usually, like I said, I bet a lot of these fucking trolls, a lot of these freaking haters, if we were to meet face to face and have a conversation, we'd probably have a beer together. They just got emotionally charged in a moment. And like I said, that comment they put out there made them feel good. And every time they comment and, tell people, I mean, that same post has been shared like 150 times to people. So somebody probably was in a meeting, a sales call or something, and didn't turn on the Zoom camera, and they sent them my fucking video. That kind of shit's cool. So for every piece of hate, I mean, I've picked up a couple hundred new followers from that same piece of content. That's what's so awesome, is that they showed up and made it work. So, but yeah, don't try and sway their opinion. Just thank them and move on. And like I said, you come at me about my family, my wife, you come at me about my team. Yeah, we're gonna have a whole different level of conversation. But come at me all day long, because I think it's funny for the most part. So, and I've been called some pretty fucking. I should start just capturing screenshots of all the things people call me. So, because it's getting funnier, and it's only gonna. I mean, as I get bigger, it's only gonna get funnier and funnier the more thing. I mean, look at somebody like Gary Vee. If you ever want some entertainment, go through the thread of his comments and watch people hate on that motherfucker. They are ruthless. How much of he's an idiot? He's got his daddy's money, and they just go straight at him for everything. And look how big it's caused him to get with his social content. It's pretty fucking cool to watch.
Yeah, right now, one of the influencers in the sales arena, and I'm not going to use his name because I don't want to promote him at all, but he's doing that. He's doing the coming at Dave Ramsey thing. And I'm like, dude, so you have this issue with what he's doing, but every time you post, more people are seeing it and you're extending his reach. Like, do you?
Yeah, but I'm going to be devil's advocate on that, because what he's doing is he's bashing Dave Ramsey, but he's also getting the rest of the people that think Dave Ramsey's an idiot to go, ooh, maybe I should check out this guy. So it's like me walking on the stage and saying badass.
Yep.
It's the same context. He's looking for his people. And he knows by saying Dave Ramsey's an idiot, which I don't think Dave Ramsey's an idiot. I don't know enough of his stuff, right? But, by saying that, he knows motherfucker's going to come out of the woodworks and defend him. And in that defending, his people are going to show up. It's a risky move. I mean, I've bashed on a couple of fucking sales influencers out there from time to time, because there's one I really fucking hate that's a complete fucking moron, and I'll bash on him every once in a while. There's an organization that we try not to, bash on, but we'll find ourselves from time to time bashing on another organization. But, it's a risky move every time you do it. And I would rather come from the stance of let's be good in the world. Let's put out good shit versus, being the person that's coming at it from the ugly side of things.
Yeah. And there's been studies that they've done on brand and how people see brands and what they think about them based on how they interact on social media with their competition. And the brands who have had positive interactions with their competitors have actually had better, when they've done these surveys, have had a better, people have liked them better and they've had a better reaction to them. So you see it a lot in like the retail candy brands like Kit Kat and Mars and all the different candy companies will, comment each other's posts and do stuff. And the ones who did cool stuff had a better overall view from the audience than the ones who were bashing.
Well, it's a Miracle on 34th Street story, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you can't get the toy here. Go over to other, toy store. So, us showing our age right there. Jesus. Now maybe we are a boomer. Fuck.
We'll never be a boomer. Our parents are that generation.
But
we will always be the Gen X.
Yeah, and we get no love. I mean, we showed up for a couple of years as Gen X. People hated us, and then luckily for us, all the millennials, Generation Z, and all those people came up behind us, and they were so bad that they got the heat off of us quickly.
We were the generation that was given a key to their house when they were 6 and said to walk home from school and take care of yourself. Right. So we're like, yeah, whatever. We don't care. Right. And so we watched the other two generations around us, lob cannonballs at each other.
Yeah, well, and we were also the last generation that didn't have internet growing up, so I think that saved a lot of our asses.
Yep.
So, all
So
right. So, action item. What is it? Where are we at?
So our action item today is that you need to pick a fight when you're on social media. Find that hill that you actually want to die on, that is going to cause people to show up and comment. Uh, Remember, stay away from the politics, religion, world news topics, but go out there and pick a fight. Get people to engage. Find who your supporters are, and also find out who your haters are, and use them and use their energy to actually grow your brand. I'm really bad at this. This is something I'm going to work on. But your content doesn't need to be stuff that everyone's going to agree with. I like putting stuff out there and getting the positive interaction. But sometimes you need to throw out the content that people are going to be like, "Well, that's wrong. That's not how I do it at all," and start having that conversation, because that's actually going to bring out way better discussions and potentially bring out way better relationships with your audience.
And truthfully, I don't think people always know what's going to pick a fight. So, like, I mean, this whole Zoom one for me, I had no clue this was going to be the one that was going to pick a fight. And sometimes you got to find those things and then figure out, okay, how do I use this? How do I pick this fight further? And as we were talking, it's one of the things I ran through my head is, should I do another video on like LinkedIn that talks about professionals turn on their camera? And I think that would be a good discussion to put out there.
Well, and I think that'll be a really cool experiment, because I'm kind of believing that what picks a fight on one platform isn't necessarily going to pick the same fight on a different platform.
Well, that same video picked a fight on Facebook too, but didn't on LinkedIn. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know if that's age gaps or, I mean, nobody on Facebook called me a boomer. That was only TikTok. So maybe it's an older generation thing. I don't know. So, all right, guys, but thank you so much for tuning in. If you got any value out of this whatsoever, do us a favor. Make sure you're subscribed on Facebook or on YouTube. Click the bell to get notified when new episodes come out. If you're listening in podcast land, please subscribe to wherever you're listening. And if you know one person that would get value from this episode or show, please share this with them. Those shares to those people mean the world to us. We're going to get out of here. So, love you, mean it. See you, bye.